the all-NBA player that he was before the injury with the Pelicans. And that's the first part of this. And then they've got to integrate him into this team. They brought in great perimeter players. They haven't brought in anybody like DeMarcus Cousins, and he's going to have to adjust to the Warriors. They're going to have to adjust to him. And it may not really be till the playoffs and maybe into the playoffs before he starts to resemble his old self and they start to figure out how to play with each other. There's a long way to go beyond him just coming back and playing his first game potentially on the 18th against LA.
I don't know why, but this is fun, Woj. Thank you. It feels like the storm, it is a coming, and like Klay Thompson said the other day, they're only a third of the way for them. They're not halfway through the season. So you add Boogie to that team. What's the percentage that the Warriors become unbeatable? Your eyes just got really big. Yeah.
Boogie, my guy. A guy that's coming off an Achilles injury, so he's going to have something to prove, as you guys know. He scored more points than any guy in the league that has never participated in the playoffs. So he's going to be excited about this opportunity, playing alongside other greatness. And no offense to the centers that have played minutes for the Warriors this year, but Jones, Bell, Looney, and Jerebko represent one of the lowest scoring center tandems, quadruples, whatever you want to call them, in the league. This guy is all NBA. The Golden State Warriors will be starting 5 All-Stars before we know it.
Is he going to have to adapt? Will the team have to adapt? Is it some sort of hybrid of those two?
Well, he has to fall into a role here. I mean, you already have Curry, Durant, Klay. Obviously, they have set roles, and it's been this way for years now. So he has to try to find a way to fit in. Will he be the same Boogie right away? I don't think so. You know, Chauncey can attest to this. An Achilles injury is tough to come back from. He may not be his same self for the rest of this season. It may take him the season after for him to get back to his old self. But if he could be a guy that can go in there and can just be a contributor, you know, be a guy that gets double-figure rebounds, you know, be a presence, draw double teams, knock down open shots, that's all they need from him. And if they win a championship, then his stock goes way back up.
Yeah. Well, I can speak, you know, from experience here. Like, coming back from an Achilles is really tough. You're excited to be back, but it's so frustrating. It really is, because you just can't do the things that you could do before that happened. And Boogie he's a center. He's a big guy. You know, he's 6'11", probably 275, 280. All that weight is coming down on that Achilles, and it's coming down. It's not the Achilles that's impacted. When you come back, the Achilles is strong. It's everything else that you haven't paid attention to. I know for me, when I came back, I ended up missing 9 or 10 games with a peroneal tendon issue, which was something I never even heard of.
I just did.
But I worked so hard on the Achilles that it was residual things around the leg and around the Achilles that gave me a problem. So Boogie will be excited to be back, and let's not forget, he'll be on a minute restriction.
Sure.
It'll be a long time before we see the Boogie that we all know and love, but he will get back.
Which is daunting to everyone else if you're not a Golden State Warriors fan. Next up, Minnesota Timberwolves beat the Lakers by 22 on Sunday night and then promptly fired coach and team president Tom Thibodeau. It was a move that felt like it was coming since Jimmy Butler basically forced his trade back in November. Flip Saunders' son, Ryan Saunders, is currently the interim coach. He won his first game last night against OKC, which I love. Now, there's been a lot of speculation out there about a permanent hire. It's included former Bulls coach Fred Hoiberg. It's included someone at this desk named Chauncey Phillips.
Put some respect on
so
Mr.
why don't we
Big
start
Shot
there?
name.
What's up with that?
There's nothing up with it, to be honest. To be honest with you, there's been no communication, no interaction between myself and them. But I have huge respect, for them. I played there. I was a Timberwolf before I was a Piston. But I'm really excited for Ryan. I call him Rhino. I mean, I've been knowing him since he was a kid. Him coming out running 452 twist, which was one of Flip's favorite plays, and getting a bucket on that first play. I was so excited, and I was so happy for him.
As far as destinations in the league, Timberwolves as a coaching job ranks where?
I think it's a really good job because you have Karl Anthony Towns. The thing is, you need Wiggins to play like an all-star because you're paying him as such. You did the trade for Jimmy Butler. You added Sarge. You added Covington. You want those guys to give you quality minutes. But I don't see this collection of Minnesota Timberwolves, if they're able to sneak in as an 8th seed.
Oh.
And Derrick Rose has been amazing this year. This team will not get past the first round.
You agree, Paul?
Yeah, the good thing about Minnesota, when you're taking over a new job as a GM or a coach, you got to have foundational pieces. Yes, they do have that. Karl Anthony Towns, Wiggins, he's starting to play strong. So it's a great opportunity there because, a lot of coaches going into these situations don't want to take the job, or GM don't want to take the job because it's like, what kind of future do they have? And they have one.
Well, the two leading MVP candidates at the halfway point of the season, they face off tonight right here on ESPN. It's Giannis, James Harden, Bucks Rockets in Houston, and there in the building to report all of that is George Sedano. George?
Beetle, what's going on? We've got a great matchup, as you mentioned, today, but the interesting part here is what the Rockets have been doing. They've climbed up to the 5th seed in the Western Conference, 12-2 in their last 14 games, and we all know how great James Harden has been during this particular run, but there's been a couple of other key ingredients. They've been outscoring their opponents by an average of 22.3 points per game just from the three-point line, and that's not even the most impressive stat. They've been holding their opponents to 31% from beyond the arc. So defense has been a catalyst for their success as well. A couple of notes on their roster right now. Looks like Chris Paul will be out till probably the end of the month, according to Mike D'Antoni. That's what they're going to try to get him back in. And with Eric Gordon, they're looking at trying to get him back in about a week or so. Beetle, back to you.
Fair enough, George. Thank you. Have fun out there down in Houston. There are some pretty convincing numbers that say James Harden is the greatest, quote, unassisted offensive player of all time.
I like that.
What in the what?
Well, he is at home.
He looks comfortable. I'll give him that.
Comfy.
It's like a Christmas present that got here a couple weeks late. The NBA season halfway through, and you get all the most awesome highlights next.
NBA Countdown is presented by Mountain Dew Ice, a clear, refreshing lemon-lime flavored dew.
Check this.